Fantasy Nerds, going live again today to talk about the Fantastic Four movie. Um, hold on for a second. It's been a minute since I've streamed this way. I gotta make sure everything is okay. Yeah, everything's okay. And let me pull up my notes now. Do-do-do-do-do. Let's see. Okay, so I went Monday to see the Fantastic Four, and I have just like with Superman, I wrote down all my thoughts. Okay, so I've only seen the first Jessica Alba Fantastic Four. I forget who is the director on that one. Might have been Tim Story. I may be wrong. Don't give me the line. I didn't see Rise of the Silver Surfer and did not see Fan Four Stick. But so this is the first one I've seen in a very long time. Um, like Superman, I'm glad they didn't do an origin story. They just did like a little, 5-minute recap at the very beginning. Okay, so what this movie has that I can never stand is the superhero in peril. It's the pregnant superhero in the pregnant superhero in peril. Don't know why that was so hard to say. But whenever I'm watching a TV show or a movie and there's people with powers and one of those people with powers is pregnant. And not only do they always put them in these situations where this very pregnant woman has to fight, uh, the bad guys want the pregnant woman's baby, and I'm like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with them always putting the pregnant woman in the middle of a fight, and then always want to take her baby. And this one not only wanted to take her baby, this one induced her birth. So she had to give birth on a spaceship in space. And but it's oh my goodness, it was crazy. And the thing that I know that they were I know that with a PG rating they couldn't have a realistic sorry couldn't have a realistic birth scene on PG-13. But if this was real, they would have had there would have been blood and guts, blood and placenta all over that spaceship, because they was already floating around, and in those atmospheres they show you any little bit of liquid is going to be flying around. She gave birth on a spaceship. Blood and placenta would have been everywhere. But I guess it's not rated R, so you can't show that. Let's see. Okay. So back to the beginning. I should have known that since the Fantastic Four was so beloved by all the world that they were going to turn on them on a dime, like they did when they went out to see Galactus, and everybody was all happy, like, yay, go get Galactus. And they came back and was like, yeah, we didn't beat Galactus. I mean, I get this was the 60s, people were kind of naive, but when you send four people, yes, they have powers, but there's still only four people to face a being that can eat your entire world. You were expecting too much. And then when they come back and was like, we tried to talk to him and he wanted our baby, and then you're gonna be pissed? Like, you give up your baby to Galactus then. Like, how do you expect them to give up their baby to a man who eats worlds? But whatever. You couldn't sacrifice your baby to save us? Like, really? Y'all let those words come out of your mouth? I can't believe that. But and it wasn't even guaranteed that it was going to save the earth. You know, because you don't know Galactus. You don't know that he was going to keep his word. And he wanted to teach the baby to be like him. So what if he was like, okay, I'm not going to eat the earth, but I'm going to teach this baby to eat the earth? Because I can pass on what I do onto this child. And who's to say, okay, even if Galactus and the child didn't eat Earth right then, who's to say they wouldn't come around? The baby wouldn't come back around to eat the Earth 20, 30, 40 years from now. Like, that was not the solution. That was not the solution. I am. Okay. Who is this? I can't see. Hey girl, how are you? Well, how are you? What's that say? Isabella? How are you? Did you watch the Fantastic Four? Did you like it? Okay. But yeah, I liked when Sue came out and set them straight because she was like, "Look, this is my baby," you know. And she basically, because you know it's real easy to have your torches and your pitchforks, you know, against the idea of a baby born. You gotta look that baby in the face while you're saying, "Yeah, give that baby up." That's a whole other thing. Like you're not gonna be able to look a baby in the face and be like, yeah, you need to be sacrificed for the whole world. So I'm glad she shamed the world. They should feel shame for that. All right, you're doing good. Yes. You feel good. Okay, let's look. I think I have to end this poll for whatever I have to do. So I have 5 votes so far. 83% was hell yes, and 17% was no. Did you like the Fantastic Four? Because I think there is something else. Let's end that poll. I am. What is that? No. Okay. Sorry. There was something I'm supposed to be testing, and I'm looking for something to pop up. It has not popped up yet. Okay. So yeah, it's easy to call for sacrifice of a child, but you're not looking in the face. I liked all the cast. Pedro was great as Reed Richards. Um, he was believably nerdy, but he had so much heart in his nerdiness. It didn't make him an automaton. Um, Ben was the big brute with a heart of gold. I can barely remember the Jessica Alba Fantastic Four, but I know I didn't like how they did that. Ben in that movie, I didn't like how his story went, so I liked this Ben story much better. Um, yeah, so I prefer this. I prefer the story of this Ben to the Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba. And he even had a believable love interest. You know, I could truly believe that Natasha Lyonne was interested in him. It's probably because she's a good actress. But, you know, it was a combination of her being from New York, a school teacher, because, you know, got to have an open mind as a school teacher, religious, and just being Natasha Lyonne. It just really felt like you really felt that they had a believable love story. Do 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 do. And yeah, she played it perfectly. I wish they had more time. I wish we would have seen them more than we saw them on the screen, especially because they never got a conclusion. Like when the movie was over, we should have saw them together at least one more time when they were doing all the denouement and all this other stuff. I wish we would have saw her and him together just one more time after the destruction and blah 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 blah. That would have been nice. Um, was exactly what I wanted all these years. A focus on family, a 1960s space race setting, and more like Star Trek, sci-fi instead of superhero stuff. It was perfect, in my honest opinion. Okay, cool. So you liked it. Yeah, so I did like the theme of family, and I liked yeah, I like the theme of family, and it really felt like, okay, this was, you know, that was what this movie was about. It was about family. Um, okay, Johnny Storm. I liked his character, liked how he was played, but I felt like something was missing. Like, Not with his acting, because I don't know the guy's name, but you know the guy from Stranger Things. I thought he was really good as Johnny Storm. He did his best as the little, yeah, he did his best as John. He did really well as Johnny Storm. I felt like the writing was missing something, so he did the best with what they gave him. But with the theme of this movie being family, and Sue being his like only main family left, because they already, she said in her little speech, her mom died when it was young. You saw that the father was not so great, so he probably wasn't in their life at that time. So it was really just Sue and Johnny. So when Sue has this baby, I really wanted to see Johnny be more protective of them. I wanted to see him be more, I don't know. I want to see more emotion from him when it comes to her and Franklin. Like, she's on a spaceship about to give birth, and she had to like yell at Johnny to go, shoot the Silver Surfer. I'm like, he shouldn't have. Nobody should have had to told Johnny to go after that woman. Like, she was coming for the baby that was being born at this moment. He should have went on his own. It shouldn't have been like, oh, I don't want to kill the sexy alien. Who cares about the sexy alien? This is your sister and her child. You should have been the person. You should have been honest. Nobody should have had to tell you. You should have been ready to knock her the hell out so she wouldn't get that baby. I wish they would have had a little bit more connection for between Johnny and Sue and the baby. Yeah, his bond to Sue and Franklin should have been greater. You did see it a little bit when he confronted the Silver Surfer and tried to exchange himself instead of Franklin. And so it's like, there was that one moment where he talked to them and he was like, okay, take me instead. And I was like, that would have been great had I seen that earlier too. I really wish that wasn't the first time I saw that. I agree about Johnny. I think there was a lot of character building and backstory moments that were cut. A lot of stuff in the trailers that isn't in the movie. That's my only complaint. I wanted more. Yeah. Because when the whole thing of the movie is about family, you should make the family moments stronger. And the other thing was Ben, because with the family moments with Ben, like, he's the only person who's not really legally or blood connected to the rest of the family. Like, everybody was either blood connected or connected by marriage, but he was sort of like, just this odd guy out. He was Reed's best friend, but still he wasn't blood or legally connected. So I really wish they would have explored his role in the family more. Like, all we saw was, him making dinner or him holding the baby. Like, I really wish we could have explored his position in the family. Like, how is he connected to this family? How is he a part of this family? And I really wanted to see more of that. I didn't get to see that like I would have liked, because I liked his treatment in this movie better, but I really wished we could have cemented his role in the family more. Okay, the labor. I said that. Okay, so Sue, love Sue. Someone said that she carried the whole movie, and I do agree. A lot of what happened was on her shoulders, but that's because she was the mother, and she had to stand it. Basically, the end is on her shoulders because she did, like, how they say a mother can have, like, if something's wrong with their baby, they can have enough adrenaline to lift a car up to save a baby. That's what we were seeing at the end of the movie. all of her adrenaline, all of her superpowers were focused on, you know, getting Galactus clear out of there. So it was like, basically, you know, if it wasn't about saving her baby, she probably wouldn't have had the strength to do it all on her own. But she was protecting her baby. She knew that she was probably going to die, but she was like, I am doing this. My baby is not going to be taken by this thing. So she did everything that she could. She dug deep down. She used all of her mother adrenaline strength, you know, showing that yes, mothers are superheroes even without powers. Mothers are superheroes. But yeah, so I like that she pushed him into the portal all by herself. And um and in the end, when he, you know, did the horror movie last flail and came back through. First, it was gonna be, you know, Johnny like, okay, it's my time again to sacrifice myself. But here comes the Silver Surfer, who we saw in a flashback is also another mother. She went through and she pushed him back in. So it was basically the two mothers defeated Galactus. It was Sue and the Silver Surfer, two moms, got him clear out of there, stranded him in a universe, you know, on the other end of the universe. So this was about families. This was about the family being saved by mothers. So that was very interesting. That instead of having it be, you know, Sue and Johnny, it was Sue and the Silver Surfer. Um, oh, and that baby. Okay, so um, um, yeah, that baby kind of creeped me out. I am pretty sure that that baby was real in some instances, but in other instances, it had a really uncanny valley. Hello, Emma Frost. Hi. That baby had a very uncanny valley thing going on. So I figured basically they did CGI the baby in certain moments. So like whenever Ben was holding him, the baby I think was CGI because Ben himself was probably like a mocap suit or whatever, and he, who knows what he was actually holding, so that baby was CGI. And then there were times where they had that baby act, and so like when Reed was having his little conversation with the baby, and the baby was reacting to what he was saying and had emotions on his face, and it looked like he really understood what Reed was saying. And I was like, okay, that's gotta be CGI, because you can't get like the most you can do is to get a baby to either cry or not cry. That's it. That's your extent of baby acting right there. The fact they had this baby making faces and looking at and reacting to the words he was saying, I was like, yeah, that was a CGI baby. Oh my gosh, I have the same Yoda nightlight. It's not a nightlight. It's a I got that from Target. It's like it's a I don't know, I wouldn't call him plush, but it's a stuffed Yoda. Like the body is just stuffed, and then you have the head and the hands are like, you know, molds. But yeah, I got it from Target. And the little box, I think I threw the box away. But the little box was in the shape of the little thing that Yoda would his little thing that he would get around in, like his little space buggy. Dope shirt. Thank you. This was my only Marvel shirt for the longest. I just got a Spider-Man shirt, so now I have Marvel and Spider-Man. Most of my shirts are DC. I love DC, so I have like 2 Superman, 2 Batman, 2 Wonder Woman. I'm trying to expand. Did you like Johnny and the vibes? Okay, I liked that he found a way to connect with her. He found out who she was, found out, you know, he basically found out who she was, how to speak to her, and you know, he found a way to connect with her. I like that. I like that he was like, you know, Reed is using his brain, so he decided to, you know, he he used his brain, but basically it was to utilize his heart. He tried to speak to her as I mean, well, she's not human, but still he knows that she wasn't always the thing that she is. So he tried to speak to the heart of her, and I like that. I like that. I just wish that again, when she was coming after his nephew while the nephew was being born, that he wouldn't have been reluctant to try to get her then. Like, there was no reason for him to be reluctant then. But like, once they got away, okay, fine. Figure out how to, you know, speak her language so when she comes back you can talk to her. But and like, because like, I get it, they had a moment, but that moment means nothing when she's coming after your family. But I get, he was like, we had a moment, so he knew that he could connect with her because of the way she said what she said. He was like, there is some regret in her voice, and he caught that. So that shows that, like, yes, he's a little wild thing, but he does have, you know, he does have some understanding and some brains. Yes, Team DC. I am a DC girl. I grew up a DC girl. I don't know if you can see, as Superman, Wonder Woman, and as Batman. Oh, you can't see, but as Batman, I have, and this was the last Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. I actually was going to get, because like a friend of mine had this Wonder Woman poster, and she was in California, and I was like, do you have another one of those? Because I think she was working, and the poster was at her desk. So I figured that wherever she was working, because she was in California, she was in LA, that she could get me that poster. So I was like, can you give me that poster? And she was like, sure, send me the postage. And so I gave her the money for the postage. So she sent me, so she had to send it in one of those little, you know, poster tubes. So she sent me that. She threw in Superman, she threw in Batman, and she threw in Magic Mike. But I still to this day have not seen Magic Mike, so I gave Magic Mike away. Not really a fan. So, but Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman on my wall. Invisible Woman carried the entire movie. Mr. Fantastic barely even used his powers. Yeah, I did notice how Reed we barely saw him stretch. We barely saw him stretch until the Galactus was about to pop him out of existence. That I hated. But yeah, but Mr. Fantastic isn't just Mr., you know, he isn't just the stretch person. He is a scientist, and we got to see him using his scientific theory throughout the movie. So he basically was constantly thinking of a solution to the problem. So he might not have used his physical powers, but he used his brain powers throughout the entire movie. So it was a trade-off. There really wasn't no big fights for him except for the very last fight. That was the only time for him to really utilize his powers. Because like when they were in a spaceship, there was really not much he could stretch in such a small confined space. They could have had a big fight when they went to go see him, but when they went to go talk to Galactus, but really it would have just been, especially when your wife is pregnant and going through labor, your focus needs to be on her and not fighting him, which is why it was good that Johnny fought him then. Did you see Superman? Oh yeah. Or are you talking to somebody else? Because yeah, I did a whole video on Superman. I think Pedro Pascal is a really good actor, but this casting seemed forced. I don't know. I guess because, like I said, I had only seen one other Fantastic Four movie, and that was the one with Jessica Alba, and I can't remember the guy. I can't pronounce his name anyway. I can't pronounce his name anyway. But, you know, that guy who played Mr. Fantastic. But the thing that I liked about this about Pedro as Mr. Fantastic was him sort of balancing his nerdiness and his heart. Because again, this movie is about family, it's about heart. So he was trying to find a middle ground between always thinking in scientific theory, and science would say we should do it this way, and thinking I should not be sacrificing my son. So so we got to see his inner turmoil of always having to find the scientific way to do everything. So his role was trying to use his brain but also trying to use his heart at the same time. So I like that. She was fighting while pregnant. This was the Invisible Woman show. Yeah, I said earlier, I hate when they put pregnant women in peril, and that the pregnant woman has to fight, and and then whoever they're fighting wants that pregnant woman's baby. Charmed them looking at you. I hated that. I hate when pregnant women have to fight, and then at the same time have to keep whoever they're fighting from taking their baby. So then they go into labor, and then the baby, every moment you're thinking, the moment this baby comes out of this woman, it can be snatched out of her hands. I hate that. I hate that. Yeah, I hate that. Okay. But okay, I have so many questions. They didn't allow Jessica Alba act. They told her to look pretty in those films. Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that they didn't let Jessica Alba act. Which is probably why I barely remember those. I barely remember those films. I just remember Jessica Alba was in it, Chris Evans was in it, Michael Chiklis was in it. I remember everybody's name except for Mr. Fantastic. Probably because I cannot pronounce his last name. I can't pronounce his last name. But yeah, I have a lot of questions because, so this is Marvel Phase 6, I believe. I can never keep up with phases. We're on it. We're always almost at the end of phase before I realize we entered it. But okay. So my biggest question was, if this took place in the 60s, how are they and Doctor Doom involved in Adventures Doomsday? Is it time travel? Don't tell me the answer. I just have these questions. Is this, no. Dang it. I am looking, I'm sorry. I'm looking for something to happen and it's not happening. Oh. I liked Vanessa Kirby as Sue, but I think she would have made a great Emma Frost. Especially since she played Princess Margaret in The Crown. Actually, my reference to her being a good Frost, what is her role in Mission Impossible, the last two, no, the last three Mission Impossibles. Her role in that would make me think she would be a good Emma Frost. But yes, the White Widow. Yeah, I think that would have that role set her up to be a good Emma Frost. Okay, so I have more questions. Don't tell me the answers. Like, yeah, so it being in the 60s, like, aren't the Avengers supposed to be in Avengers Doomsday, or are they only the ones in Avengers Doomsday? So it's like, how, and they're in the 60s, but okay, and then, then I have a question. Are they in a parallel universe? Because how come we've never heard of Subterraria before? Like, I get it, this was the 60s, but Subterraria was in New York, and we've been to New York. We've fought New York with aliens in the first Avengers movies. Where was Subterraria before? Is this a parallel universe? Again, don't tell me. I want to find out what Avengers Doomsday. I feel like Doom is going to bring them to a different universe. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. But I kind of want to, it's like I have these questions, but it's like hypotheticals. Because I do want to find out, because I don't watch trailers. I don't look at scene stills. I don't look at even posters until after I've watched the movie. But I did like the world that they lived in because it was 60s, but it wasn't our 60s. You know what I'm saying? It was a different type of 60s. Um, because they were just, those people were just, this was the 60s that the people in our world imagine the 60s to be. That just doesn't, it just never existed on this earth. But that was a great 60s. I like that 60s. Right, I love the aesthetic of the show. Right, and it was also, it was the optimism of the people. Like, yeah, they got out of pocket at one point, but she quickly put them back in the pocket. And loved, you know, they loved them. They listened to them. They didn't bring up the very obvious nepotism in the Fantastic Four. Like, you about to take four people out into space for the first time, and they're your wife, your brother-in-law, and your best friend. Nobody said anything about that. Nobody said anything about that. Okay. So happens when my sister, uh, somebody called while I was in there. But anyway, so I liked how nobody brought up the nepotism, that, you know, he took his wife, his brother-in-law, his best friend to outer space. That was cool. I also liked how when Mr. Fantastic came up with, like, we're gonna transport the Earth to another universe. Everybody was like, cool. What do you need? Everybody built these portals all around the world. And then he was like, we need to conserve energy. Everybody went on an energy curfew. Nobody complained. Nobody complained. I like that Earth. It's like, this was the Earth. If the pandemic happened on that Earth, everybody would have wore a mask and the pandemic would have been wiped out in 2 weeks. The Thing and Johnny Storm did not get any love during this movie. Johnny Storm did a bad job. Johnny Storm did a good job with what was given to him. And I talked about that earlier, how I would have liked to seen him more connected to Sue and Franklin, and how I would like to have seen Ben. I would have liked for them to explore Ben's place in this family more, because this whole thing was about family, but like, we really didn't explore everybody's position in that family, especially his, because he's not connected to anybody through blood or, you know, legal means. I was like, ain't no way the entire world worked together like that. I mean, the whole world. He's like, we need to go on an energy curve. They cut their energy off at 8 p.m. and not a peep was said. There was no one. There was no pushback nowhere. No pushback from the people, no pushback from the government, no pushback from the American government, who's always the villains. And they worked with everyone around the world. It was like, okay for Paris, okay for London, okay for this. Everybody was like, okay, what's the plan? And when the plan went awry, they was like, okay, we need to go to Subterraria. Everybody packed their stuff and went to Subterraria. Nobody was like, I want to go underground to where the sewers are. They went. It was something. It was crazy how everybody just was like, okay, Mr. Fantastic, we have faith in you. We have faith in the fact that you showed us this transportation with an egg, and that your calculations on how many portals you were going to need was going to get us across the universe, especially since your teleportation device had a portal here and a portal here where the egg is, and we're not building a portal to where you're sending us. So, but we're going to have faith that we're going to go to another universe, even though there's no portal there. And that's what I kept thinking. Lovely that these portals are all over the world. There needs to be a portal where they're going. How do you get them how do you get the Earth to another universe with no portal there? But I am also not a scientist, so maybe he explained it and I didn't get it. Okay, so I like the film overall. Like I said, I had my issues with the pregnant woman in peril, with Johnny, you know, not seeming as close to Sue and the baby as I would have liked him. Like, these were his only family. These were his only blood family left. He should have been, he should have been really, like, I didn't even see him interact with the baby as much. Like, Ben held that baby more than Johnny did. So, yeah. Yeah, somebody said they cut out a lot of this movie, and it did move very quickly. They're like, I guess we're just so used to movies being overstuffed with, you know, stuff we don't need, that they didn't realize we needed those moments. We needed those family moments where we saw how Ben fit in the family. We saw Johnny's connection with Sue and the baby, and it just, and also, you know, I guess we really got the most, the thing we got the most of is seeing Mr. Fantastic and the things he was wrestling with. That's what we saw the most. We saw him wrestling with science and and family the most. So, but yeah, that's did the thing even do anything in this movie? He was captain of the ship. He was captain of the ship. He made them dinner. He made them dinner. He was captain of the ship. The baby did more than a thing. The baby brought his mama back to life. That was another uncanny valley moment. But I was like, okay, this baby, look, because like the baby was crying, they put the baby on top of the mama, and I was like, okay, this baby, this uncanny valley baby about to do something. And he brought her back to life. I don't understand how he did it. He didn't. He just stood on her, bobbing his head, brought her back to life. We didn't see no glowing from his fingers. He, you know, leaned down and breathed into her mouth. They just laid him on her, and she brought him back to life. And they were okay with that. I would be freaked out if my baby brought me back from the dead. I would have been so freaked out. I would have been like, Mama loves you, but Mama's gonna need 5 minutes. I would have needed a minute. But yeah, it was cute. And I don't want to compare it to Superman because these are apples and oranges, even though they're both superhero films, you know, apples and oranges. So, but I liked it. But that is all for today. I was supposed to be testing something, and they swore it was gonna pop up on the thing. Oh, no. Yeah, and it didn't pop up. So I'm gonna have to go live again. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. It didn't pop up. So I'm gonna have to ask questions. But in the meanwhile, thanks for watching. Thanks for telling me what you really think about the Fantastic Four. And if you have more to say, go on my wall, post on my wall, and tell me everything. Tell me every little minute point of everything you liked or didn't like about the Fantastic Four. You can post on my wall. You can post pictures on my wall. I mean, in the community posts. You can post pictures. You can post, you know, go up on there. You don't have to just respond to me. You can actually post your own little posts on the community post wall. So, so yeah, go there and tell me everything you liked or didn't like about the Fantastic Four. Okay, all right. That is all. I gotta figure out how to get out of here. Oh, here we go. See you later.